Hi. Welcome to TableTalk Friday, a D&D podcast. Three guys are going to talk to each other and give their advice and opinions on Dungeons and Dragons and whatnot. If you like the show, make sure to follow them on whichever podcast service you prefer and come back every single Friday for another upload or episode, whatever you prefer to call it. Have fun, I guess. Bye. Yeah, ta-ta. Bye. See ya. Bye. Bye. I will defend Hunter x Hunter to the end of my days because I think it's such a good show. The power system of Nen is legit. It's super cool. I was explaining to Drew how I think it's probably my favorite power system in animes because everything has there's like a backdraw to like pretty much every power. Like the stronger your power is, the bigger the like drawback is. Or, like, the more conditions you have to meet to activate it. Like, there are certain characters who have to do, like, okay, if you want to be able to activate your power, you have to know this guy's last name, and also, like, you're also putting your life on the line.
That makes me think of Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I haven't seen it yet, so
but
don't
you
tell me
haven't seen it yet, and our folks at home haven't seen it yet either. But we'll bring it back up at some point after you've seen the movie. And
yeah, I'm too busy going to watch Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness tomorrow night.
Woo!
After we catch up on, let's see, Drew this week. Now, viewers at home, Drew is a casual Marvel fan, so he hasn't seen a lot of the Marvel content. But my buddy Chase and I were talking about, like, yeah, you know what, we're gonna go see Doctor Strange at this time, and Drew goes, well, I kind of want to hang out with the boys. I want to see a movie with you guys. And I was like, okay, we'll catch up. And he goes, what do I have to watch? And me, Chase, and Patrick explained to him, these are the 4 things you need to watch. Since you've already watched like this other stuff, these are the 4 things you need to watch to catch back up to us. And he was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And between, let's see, he had 3 days to do so. Monday, we watched all of WandaVision. Tuesday, we caught up on the episodes he needed to see of What If. And today, we have already watched Far From Home, and he is now going to watch No Way Home after we finish recording this episode. And tomorrow night, we're going to see Multiverse of Madness. It's very exciting, very fun. I'm excited to see this movie with another boy, because I've only been seeing these movies with Chase for so long, it feels like we're dating.
Okay.
Perfect.
Is this a date tomorrow?
Oh, yeah, we're all going on a date. Me and Chase and you and Taylor.
Oh. Okay, I'm kind of into this now. Okay, that's cool.
So, Drew, how has your experience been catching up, other than the fact that we've tired your eyes and brain out by watching so much TV when neither you or I are used to sitting down and watching 5 or 6 hours of TV in one go?
Well, I'm down a lot of sleep and $8 in movie rentals. But, it was cool. It was really cool. I'm enjoying it. I'm hating sitting on the couch for 9 hours at a time to watch all of it. I gotta say, I love Marvel. It's incredible. Wonderful series. They have great development, wonderful movies, great plot twists and all. But they string me along for so long, and I hate it. I hate that I'm stuck on it, and I want to watch the end credit scenes we were talking about before. I don't want to wait 10 minutes through the credits to watch these scenes.
Well, but you've got the luxury of this stuff already being out. Like, if you're watching them as they release, you get so much time to forget about it. Like,
especially in the pandemic, where we waited like 6 months for new movies, or 6 to 9 months. I think there was a calendar year. Was there a calendar year where we only got like one Marvel thing? I think.
I don't know.
Not in a while.
No, so we had Black Widow come out in 2021, and we had a couple of the shows come out, but I don't think we had an in-theater movie for a whole year.
That could be.
I'm not positive on that. Someone will have to fact check me, but yeah. So in this long period of time, I've rewatched the MCU. So I've seen the MCU all the way through like 3 times now. Because, at one point I was dating someone who hadn't seen the MCU, so we watched it. I watched it whenever I had my office job because I had nothing better to do on the side while I was filling out documents. And then I watched it the first time the first time ever. I watched all the movies on my first go around. So I've seen all these movies 3 times now. I'm still in, baby. I'm gonna keep going forever. I'll give Marvel my money until I die.
I hate that I have that mentality too, though. I really do want to keep watching it, but I hate that it takes so much of my time.
I'm wearing a Spider-Man shirt right now.
He is. He just outed himself. And for all you folks at home who feel alienated about this Marvel conversation, me too.
Well,
I hear you. I see you.
you know what? Get used to it because we have opened up, like 6 episodes now with me talking about Marvel, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Table Talk Friday, a D&D podcast, and whatever the fuck we want to talk about that day.
Yeah, I mean, there always has to be an intro portion, I feel like. I feel like that's an important part to a podcast, is at least letting a little bit of yourself out at the very beginning. And I think letting ourselves out are these stupid intros where we just converse.
I agree.
But that's not what we're here to talk about today, boys, because this is a story time episode of Table Talk Friday where Zach and I have quite a tale to go on about. I have not thought about how we're going to tell this story yet, or even the story bits, because it's been such a long time. But I have to check in on you guys for the week. How are you doing?
I'm exhausted, but I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I'm feeling that.
Oh, I'm super excited, and this is one of my favorite stories that we haven't gotten to yet, so I'm very excited to tell this to you all. This is definitely one of our maybe our greatest D&D horror story, I think.
I would agree.
At least longest running.
Yeah, it was the one that gave us the most trouble in college, and you'll get everything as it goes along, but it's about a problem player, and a problem player that I am very willing and upfront to say is a person I do not like. Like, in my head, I did not like this person at the time, and I would not like them at my table now. I've had problem players in the past that nowadays I'd be like, yeah, I'd still DM for them. Like, maybe not have them along for a 50-session campaign, but, if they wanted to play in a game, I would totally let them play in a game. This person, White Glove Erik, as we're going to be calling him for the duration of the episode, I would probably not let at my table.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I would not let this this person at our table. But sometimes you do just run into folks who you're like, well, no, I'm not playing D&D with you. And
he's not a bad person.
Yeah.
He had good intentions.
For sure. So
and I don't hate him.
Yeah. I guess we've got to start somewhere. So.
Yeah, I'm going to let you start, and I'll chime in whenever the time is right. I feel like you have a better grasp on how to tell the story than I do.
Yep. So it's our sophomore year of college. Seth and I had just recently started playing D&D, maybe 4 or 5 months ago. We've got our first group together, and we're just wrapping up the first leg of our campaign, Lost Minds of Phandelver. And around this time, our DM, Lanky Erik, has started a second group that he's also DMing on the side. We both, our characters take place in the same world and the same setting, and the adventures we're going on are sort of happening simultaneously.
Which is an idea that I love.
Oh, absolutely. So just right off the bat, this is very cool, and I was very interested this whole time while we were playing our campaign to know what are the other guys doing. My brother, Zach's brother, Erik, he was playing in this separate campaign, and so I would hear little bits and pieces about what shenanigans they got up to.
Our friend Erik with a K was in the campaign. She always came. So we all sat at the dinner table together pretty much every night back in college. And that was one of my favorite things about those experiences, because we would be like, this happened in our campaign today, and it was crazy. What happened to you guys this week? And then they would be there and be like, this stuff happened, and then this happened, and we were like, that's a character we know. That's crazy. And we would converse about these things at the dinner table, and it was very, very enjoyable. Even like some of these people we were like acquaintances with. We weren't like close friends with a lot of these people, but man, if I wasn't willing to sit down and be like, acquaintance, tell me all about your D&D session today, because I have to know.
Oh, for sure. And, Lanky Erik had us eating out of the palm of his hand. I mean, if, for all the things that we can say that we didn't enjoy at Lanky Erik's table, or, with Lanky Erik as a player at our table, he really knew how to, get that interest in you. And, he would string you along and keep you playing just to know, well, there's something going on here. I need to know what.
Yeah, no, Lanky Erik is a great DM, and I will never say he is not.
Oh, for sure. So, anyway, our campaign, like I mentioned, we just were wrapping up Lost Minds of Phandelver, and the B team, as we called them, they were going through this homebrew setting. So, anyways, one of the players at this table, I think there were 5 in total, and then they got down to 4, and one of the players was White Glove Erik, as we knew to call him now. The reason that we call him White Glove Erik, and just to give you some, visual description. I mean, so this guy was from the beginning, very, very into D&D, and he was very into portraying his character, not just, at the table with his voice and his mannerisms, but he was fully physically into portraying his character. So he would, look at you, and this aura would come over him where I'm like, oh, that's not White Glove Erik. That's Sylvania Victorico, the Azamar Warlock Bard. So anyway, he would do this thing where he had a white glove, just like Michael Jackson, and he'd put it over, I believe it was his left hand, and anytime that he was rolling his dice, he would put the white glove on, he'd roll them, he'd hold his hand out straight, and he'd cock his head down so that he's like looking at you.
It looks like he looks like he's trying to like force choke you the entire time.
Oh, absolutely. Just very intense to have it at the table, especially because a lot of these players were, a little awkward socially, and they were all new.
Especially out of the people at his table specifically, him and maybe one other person were like very socially awkward. Or like him and maybe one other person were not socially awkward, where like the other players at the table were like shy, and it's okay to be shy. It's okay to be an introvert, but it's like he didn't have the social cue to pick up on the fact like maybe this makes some people in the room uncomfortable. This is not the bad part of the story.
No. So anyway, White Glove Erik and his whole party, they were playing, and so anyway, they started having trouble getting everyone to come back to the sessions. One player in particular just sort of disappeared off the map, and then another player kept saying that she could make it, but then it comes time to play D&D, she's nowhere to be found. So anyway, I was hanging out at Lanky Eric's dorm one particular day when they were about to start playing.
Please, his residence hall.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Seth. Good
old RA joke for you.
Yeah, and so the player of Penny, the Copper Dragonborn Druid, was nowhere to be found. And I said, I can fill in. What are her stats? We'll figure them out. Here, just take a piece of notebook paper, write out a quick character sheet, get most of the details right, and then we start. So anyway, we're playing, and so this happens for the next few sessions where Penny's player is nowhere to be found, and I'm just sort of subbing in for her character.
A couple weeks in a row.
Yeah, so I really get familiar with White Glove Erik, and I start picking up on some things that are not so subtle. So this is one of those players where he tries to get real-world things out at the table in like a sly way where, maybe if you were naive enough, you wouldn't pick up on it. But anyway, he was important to the story. He was gay, and he was flirting very much with Zach's brother Erik.
Not the only gay player at the table either.
Which
is perfectly fine. Just gonna make that clear.
Yeah. No problems about that whatsoever. But so he did start flirting with Zach's brother Erik a lot in character and somewhat out of character, and he was a little touchy-feely. So he made Zach's brother Erik uncomfortable. I personally wasn't super uncomfortable with the whole situation, but I was also just enamored with the fact of we're playing D&D, baby. And I didn't fully have the distinction. Bad D&D is not better than no D&D.
Yeah.
However that phrase goes, but so I hadn't made that distinction in my mind yet, and I was just along for the ride.
No D&D is better than bad D&D.
Thank you.
That's the saying.
But in any case, we get through this big adventurous encounter, and anyway, the next session, Zach's brother Erik can't be there either, so it's just the three of us, I think. Maybe Seth, you were definitely there for this session that I'm about to talk about, I think.
Yes. So I was just very enamored by D&D at the time too. And I made a character for a one-off that happened to be in the same area as this group's characters. So I gave them like a little mission that I had run into along the way in our one-off and was like, hey, there's kind of this thing going on. Can you guys go solve the problem? And then my character, pieced out and I watched the rest of the session because it was fun. But that kind of let me slide myself into the session, which was nice. And I will mention, alongside this, like very shortly after, I was running a campaign too with White Glove Erik in attendance, and the whole hitting on players at the table happened not only to me, but to 2 of the other male players at the table, where it wasn't subtle at all. It was like an 11-session thing, and every session, like at least once, one of us would be very blatantly hit on, and it would be like, come on, this is just, we're just here to have fun and play D&D. And I know, solving that problem is usually saying something about it. And one thing that I did in the session, I was like, come on, man, like, not now. Like, this is not the time or place. And that was the thing that, like, I said at the table. Perhaps could it have been, handled a little bit differently? Yes, we're young.
yeah. So absolutely, this isn't necessarily our brightest moment either, but it's definitely interesting. So anyway. We go on this quest for Seth's character. We come back, and I believe there's... so we're in Neverwinter, in the Forgotten Realms, and there's a magic item shop that we've, been eyeing. We didn't have the money to get anything from that shop, but anyway, we'd met the owner, and as soon as we get back from... I believe we just raided a dragon's hoard, so we had a bunch of wealth. We headed back, and we're ready to buy some magic items. And we show up at the shop, and he's been raided. Oh no, pirates have stolen all my things. You guys got to get down to the docks right away if you want, to get any of those magic items. But they're setting sail now. So we rush out into the night. Again, Zach's brother Erik was not there. I'm pretty sure I was... I think I was playing his character and Penny at the same time.
I believe you were.
Yeah, just to fill in the gaps. But anyway, we rush down to the docks, and Sylvania, White Glove Erik's character, he takes flight using his one time a day Azamar thing, and we were all 4th level. Now, it's important at this part of the story that I tell you something very important about his character. I was going to bring
it up if you didn't.
Yep, so, in D&D, when you're rolling for stats, every once in a while, and it's pretty much... every character that you get, you'll have at least one bad stat.
And it's common that at our table, we all just take the median. We take the median health because rolling for stats is risky, and we like to minimize risk when we're making our characters. White Glove Erik was very much about, like, I am my character, and we will go with what the dice say. Continue, Zach.
Yep, so he decided that his dump stat, in this case, all of his other stats, pretty good. He could have put anything into Constitution, but instead, he decided, I believe it was a 7. So he had a -2
to Constitution.
Are you kidding me?
At 4th level, he had 14 hit points.
And he was rolling for stats. So what was it? He rolled a 1 of the time, so he lost 1 health. And then he rolled like a 3 or a 4 on another one and gained like 2 hit points. And then another time he rolled pretty well. And so he ended up with 14 health at level 4.
Yep. Again, Warlock, Bard, multi-class. And yeah, he rolled for his health. So that's where he was at
and
this
in his
point.
eyes, he was still the protagonist. Like, this was not a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the midst of the game, he was definitely the, I'm the face of the party. I'm going to, run out headfirst into all
Every
the danger.
decision must go through me.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a little bit obnoxious as well. But in any case, he rushes in headlong. The rest of the party decided to, sneakily approach. But he says, no, I'm going to be the hero. So he takes flight and shoots into the air and flies towards this pirate ship. At this time, he becomes obvious to everyone aboard the ship, which is now just about to start departing from the dock. And we roll for initiative. The enemies go first. And aboard the ship is one Captain Talejandra Sford. I remember
cannot
her name.
believe you remember that, because I did not remember that.
No, I remember. And she had something interesting wrapped around her neck.
An item we had seen only a few sessions prior.
Yep. In our campaign, we met. It was Schmeckles.
Schmeckles was his name.
Yeah, Schmeckles, owner of Weckles Wonder Emporium, and he had
such a good character.
Yeah,
come on.
Oh, he was great. I love him. And
I'd marry him.
You didn't even meet Weckle himself, who lives in the Neverwinter Wood.
Nope, I did not.
No, but anyway.
Wait. Was Schmeckle and Weckle?
Yeah.
Weckles Wonder Emporium was not owned by Schmeckle.
What? Yeah. Well, he ran the Neverwinter branch, but he was Weckle's nephew, cousin,
something like that.
Anyway, Talejandra Sfor, the pirate captain, has a necklace of fireballs draped around her neck. And as she gets to go first in this initiative order, she plucks one bead from the necklace of fireballs. Now, dear viewers at home, I don't know if you know what a necklace of fireballs does, but I think you could probably guess.
It's a consumable item that lets you cast fireball a number of times. So there's beads on it. So say there's 5 beads. That's 5 fireballs in bead form.
She did not need to use 5 fireballs in bead form. She used 1. This one went straight for the only target that had made themselves visible, which was Sylvania flying through the air at top speed.
And may I remind you the rules of, character death in D&D. Now, he has 14 health. If he hits 0 hit points, Sylvania would then fall unconscious, falling down into the water. If 28 hit points are taken, say, if that happened to be a number that could be hit with a fireball,
if that were, perhaps below the median average damage that would be rolled by a fireball.
Right. So if 28 hit points are taken, that is his full hit points times 2, meaning that, said character would then die immediately, getting no death saving throws. And a fireball is rolled at this point. Now, Drew, if you had to guess how much damage was taken, how much would you say?
I mean, I'm sure he had fire resistance, probably had some rings of protection, helped him out a little bit, maybe AC boost, maybe like 2.
I'll help you out.
2 fire?
Yeah, okay, so he did fail his save.
So we'll double it to 4. 4 points of fire damage?
28 points of fire damage.
Exactly?
Exactly.
Because I stood there and helped Lanky Erik count it when I was standing there, and I was like, yeah. And he goes, you take 28 points of fire damage. And I shit you not, White Glove Erik was a big fan of Fairy Tale, so I turned on the saddest Fairy Tale music I could find for him, and we told him that his character had died, and he cried real tears at the table as Sylvania then scorched from a single fireball, the first attack thrown in this fight, drops him dead into the water.
So, during the rest of this combat, I'll just say I'm doing a great job. I'm playing 2 characters. Erik with a K was, holding off the big, toughest pirates because she was a barbarian. Tough as nails. One of my favorite characters that we've played with.
So much fun.
But
Erik with a K was one of my favorite players, and I'm so sad she's not still around.
Yeah, for sure. But we fight off the pirates anyways. One of them is a Goliath who uses a friggin' anchor to fight with. It was so cool. Erik with a K fucking kills him and steals his anchor.
So now she is an anchor to fight with.
Yeah.
How cool is
sick.
that?
That is sick.
It's just a big range. And I forget. It was fully homebrewed, but
yeah,
it was like a whip, but with a much higher hit die, and you could grapple from a distance, basically.
Wait, she had range with the anchor?
Because it has a chain.
Yep.
There's a chain attached to it, so she would throw the anchor and pull it back with the chain.
How strong was this person?
A barbarian with she had gauntlets of ogre power, so 19 strength.
Imagine the immense strength you would need to take to swing an anchor, let alone throw it and
Rule
pull
of cool,
it back.
it works.
Yeah, and that is how we ruled that. So anyway, awesome fight. But the entire time, White Glove Erik is rather upset. And in character, I do my very best to give him a good send off. Zach's brother Eric's character wasn't a big fan of Sylvania in character, but Varkin, his name was Varkin Argodril, the chaotic neutral rogue, did have a little soft spot for him as he fished his charred corpse out of the harbor, and we definitely so we said some nice words about him. We surrendered his body to the Lord's Alliance, and we went on our way. The next session. So,
wait. I think this is a good time for me to interject with what he did in my campaign.
I think this is perfect.
It's a perfect commercial break because simultaneously to a lot of this stuff going on, it's whenever I started my campaign. Now, White Glove Erik was a player in my campaign playing Ambrose, which was a He was a sorcerer of some sort. I can't remember the details.
Wasn't he a grave cleric?
I don't think so, dude. I think he was a sorcerer.
Okay, never
Grave
mind.
cleric, sorcerer, specifically.
Misremembering.
But he was playing a sorcerer, and while a lot of my memories with that campaign were just cringy moments with him, we just dealt with a lot of uncomfortable moments. There isn't anything crazy of note, like giant problems that he caused at our table, except for one notable story where the players had just found out about a new mega dungeon that was built in a nearby mountain. We were very short on time for the semester, so I had like 3 sessions to end out this campaign. So they received a sending spell in the form of actually a magic letter that was teleported. So I thought that was a cool way to cast sending at the time, so I cast it through a magic letter that teleported and appeared in front of their face. And so the sending spell goes off, they get the letter, and it just gives them a location. And that's all the letter says, is just a location. And so they're like, okay, this must be where the college or the mages want us to go. The party goes there. And they find a slate in front of Mount Ravenspire. Mount Ravenspire, named aptly after an old like myth about a raven who left the mountain. So I wrote an entire poem about a raven leaving the mountain, called The Raven in the Rock. And so the whole thing was like, blah, there once was a raven who lived in a rock. And once he awoke with the sound of a knock. That's what it was, the very beginning. So they had to knock on the side of the mountain and a door would open. So they knock on the side of a mountain, door opens, and there are multiple Cambions awaiting the party there, and a group of skeletons, as they're basically like just set up as just a bunch of guards. And this is me DMing my first campaign. Not the most creative I could have been, but it was fun. So they get there, the skeletons pop up, and the Cambions start attacking. The party, I believe, was level 4 at this point, about to go on to level 5, and they head into this room, into this combat, and within seconds, Ambrose has charged into the room, starts trying to cast a couple of spells, and it's very apparent that the skeletons are going to like knock him down. The Cambions, using their little mind control powers, their fiendish influence, are able to influence the rogue of the party and point at the sorcerer who just came in and like hurt the Cambion and go, hey, stop him. And so he gets knocked down, and the rogue is now standing here under fiendish influence like, do I shoot him or not? Because she's like, well, he's technically stopped, but will my character think that stopping him is killing him or not? And this person did not like White Glove Erik. This was Erik with a K. And Erik with a K did not like White Glove Erik because he made the whole thing uncomfortable. And Erik with a K was socially awkward, and she told me separately multiple times, like, I kind of just want to be done playing with White Glove Erik. And I was like, I know, I can't like kick him out now, but after this, like once we're done with this, you don't have to anymore. So White Glove Erik is down, and Erik with a K is deciding, do I shoot his dead body? Do I shoot him dead on the ground? And I raised my hands and I was like, just do whatever you want to, like, do whatever your character, like, whatever you would do. This is something I've always done. It's given, like, the agency to the player. I never, like, make any decisions for them. I was just like, do whatever you want to do. But in my head, I'm thinking, oh, please don't kill him right here. That would suck.
Yeah, that's the nuclear option.
Yeah, exactly. And White Glove Erik is feeling this tension in the room, and he quite literally shouts, I'm not supposed to die here!
As a person?
As a person. So, him as a person, he's getting worked up at the table because he went down. And he went down because he made the stupid decision of running into the crowd of skeletons as a sorcerer. And he literally shouts out loud, I'm not supposed to die here. And I remember snickering under my breath because I was like, that was the weirdest thing you could have said. Like, you're not supposed to die? What do you mean? I don't write when you die. You just, if you make a bad decision, you die. That's just how it works. It's like with Daleth in our other campaigns where at any moment, or he made so many bad decisions, I expected him to die all the time, and he somehow found a way out of it, which is totally fine. But if you make a stupid decision and run into a room full of enemies whenever you're not the tank of the party, you're gonna die, and that's okay with me. And so he shouts that, and I was like, oh, why did you say it like that? I remember going back to my room that night and telling Zach, yeah, White Glove Erik shouted, "I'm not supposed to die here," when he ran into the room and got knocked down. And I'm pretty sure he was mad at me. Like,
Really?
yeah, it seemed like he was mad at me that, like, I knocked him down, even though he was the nearest enemy by in a room full of skeletons, which are just mindless undead creatures that attack the nearest thing. And so that happened. And also, he's the one who he was talking to the Cambion mid-battle, like, like Spider-Man quips back and forth, and he was ticking the Cambion off, and so the Cambion also wanted him dead. So
Yeah.
it
was a new player.
Yeah, it was one of those times where it was like, oh man, that was awkward, that was uncomfortable, and he quite literally got mad at me for it. But it passed. They finished out the campaign. We had a great ending to the campaign, and I didn't have to DM for White Glove Erik anymore, so it was okay. That's my horror story with him. It's mostly tame compared to the rest of what we have on the other side. So why don't we jump back to White Glove Erik's new character?
Yes. So just some additional background. As I said, the A team, our group, we just finished Lost Mines of Phandelver, and the B team just finished their big leg of the campaign. They just fought off the pirates. Hooray! Soul did die, but White Glove Erik did roll up a new character, and Lanky Erik had been planning this for a long time, where we would take, instead of DMing two separate campaigns taking place simultaneously in the same world, he would merge our two groups and do like a big competition, very much like the tuning exams from Naruto, and we would fight on this island to determine who was the better adventuring party. We were so friggin' excited.
All basically to earn a spot in the Avengers.
Yeah, so to jump right to the ending, we learn that this is the Avengers. This is the Avengers, and I'm not saying it's not like the Avengers. I mean, we met Tony Stark,
Antonio Starkovian, please.
and he was recruiting adventurers for his adventuring guild. I forget what he called it, but it was like the Adventurer Initiative or something like that.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Oh no.
And we were competing. So anyway, that's the end of the story. But our
And we never picked up on it. Can you believe that? I never picked up on it.
You never picked up on it.
No. It was all of us. It was all of us, not just me. I'm not the dumb one.
Right. But so Seth and our good friend redheaded Erik were in a one-off together, and they met Antonio Starkovian, a man in full plate armor with jet boots and lasers that he can shoot from his hands. And Seth, you didn't think, that was Iron Man.
No, I didn't, because you know what? I suspend all disbelief when I'm my character. Never do I think something is being pulled over on me. So I am that kind of player where, like, I sit there and I am just my character for a long. We've explained this in past episodes. When I play the game, I'm just my character. So in that time I was Falcreus, the slightly evil Phoenix sorcerer. And so I'm sitting there, I see an Iron Man, and Seth thinks, oh, that's kind of like Iron Man. And then I meet Antonio Starkovian, and I'm just Falcreus again. I don't remember anything. Like, I know it sounds stupid on the surface, but to me, makes complete sense why I didn't get it, because I was just like, I'm just Falcreus. He doesn't know.
Yeah, and to your credit, I did run into the Daredevil in the B Team's campaign. I forget the character's name exactly, but he was a blind man who was just like the most talented monk. He ran around in red spandex, and I was none the wiser. I was like, yeah, he's got two clubs. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and the
Like a
funny
monk
thing
would
was,
have.
all of us were calling him Batman for the longest time, and he was nowhere near Batman. That's the dumbest one, where we were all like, yeah, Batman, and Lanky Erik is quite literally like, yeah, but like he's blind though, and he's wielding like clubs, and
Oh, you mean like Batman?
and I was like, yeah, it's like his traumatic event, like he's Batman. It's like, yeah, and he's well, his like his uniform's red, like he fights things and he's blonde, and I'm like, Batman, yeah, I like Batman, like, and
Just like him, just like Batman.
it was all of us are sitting, and we called him Batman for multiple sessions. We were like, yeah, remember when we met Batman? And
We sure did.
Yeah, and it wasn't that one wasn't just me. That was everyone at the table.
Yep. So anyway, getting back to White Glove Erik.
That'll make a good clip for our TikTok.
Yeah, absolutely. So we start. It's session 1 of the Convergence. We meet his new character. I regret to say I do not remember their name, but they were.
I believe it was Vix.
Vix. Yes, you're very correct. It was Vix.
So Vix had a longer name, but Vix is what we called them, just like we called Sylvania Soul.
Yep. So anyway, Vix shows up. She is a shadow sorcerer who is in some way divinely connected to some deity, and their backstory that was given to Lanky Erik immediately before we started the session, so that there was no chance for let's talk this through or anything, was that they received a request from a god.
We'll call them S for now. Now, let me make it clear that Lanky Erik, the first letter of his name in real life, IRL, is S.
Oh, that's so right. And in the backstory, the deity's name was S.
Yeah, it was an unknown. They said something about like an unknown god. We'll call them S for now. And so then I renamed Lanky Erik's name in our group chat S for now.
That's so right. And you know what? There were bits about the Vix saw dreams of White Glove Erik in her mind, like this player who was so sad at his table with people who rolled weird rocks.
And there was a cardboard. There were like little tiny pieces of him, the other people that he knows in his life. Yeah, it was basically like, hey, my backstory is my character knows about the real world, that this is all a game, basically, and she sees, Vix was a she, and she sees that this person on the outside is so sad that I need to get their character back.
So that was her purpose. She shows up and she's going to participate with whatever the Adventuring Days things are, but she did make it clear that her express purpose was to find someone named Soul and bring him back to life as a shadow sorcerer. So I'm not sure how she thought she was going to do that, but
but that's her express purpose.
Yep.
So I absolutely refuse to believe. So you said this was handed in right before the session, right?
Yeah, it's a document. I'm pretty sure it's still shared with me on my Google Drive.
I refuse to believe this was not made up absolute last second, because this player had no other idea what to do.
And now listen, I will give all the credit to Lanky Erik, because I was a brand new DM. I had DM'd like 10 sessions total, and he respected me enough to send me this and say, what do you think about this? And I read it and went, you can't let this happen. And then it was the day of, it happened.
Pick something else, though. Like, come on.
No, and this is why White Glove Erik is a problem player and not just a weird story. Like, a player that I wouldn't have back at the table because they were the anime protagonists. So much. I mean, we've all heard of the anime protagonist, player at the table, and this is, like, literally who we had at the table was the person who's like, my character is all that matters, yours don't.
Right, and so we show up, and they think that they've made this, super powerful character to compete in these games. So, but already the omen of what the Convergence would turn into showed up right at the beginning. We get aboard Antonio Starkovian's airship and start flying out towards Tele Alaha, I believe.
I can't believe you remember
the name of the island. Yeah, not Vix though. Vix is too.
I remember the Vix part because it sounds like Vex and Vax from Vox Machina.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, she starts flirting with my character, of course, Quinn Artman. Maybe you've heard of me. And and
this is another one of those instances of she is flirting with Quinn Artman because White Glove Erik finds Zach attractive.
Yeah, exactly. So in character, I play it off. Honestly, at this point at the table, I found White Glove Erik annoying, but I was not willing to jeopardize my fun playing D&D.
And it was fun, by all means. Like, it was not, I wouldn't call it bad D&D.
No, not at this stage. So anyway, this sort of stuff happens, though, and we finally get into the challenges. I don't remember the exact order that they occurred in, but...
I do. So,
well, then take it away.
The first challenge was we were dropped off on a beach. Very like, PlayerUnknown's Battleground style. We dive out of the airship. No, we're set on a beach. and we're told you need to make it to this destination, which was the top of a mountain, I believe. And the whole mission was like, you need to make it to this destination. You have 2 routes. You can go left or you can go right, basically, around this. This will take you through, the left side will take you through woods, while the right side is going to take you through like canyons and ridges, all leading up to the side of the mountain. And, for continuity's sake, Team B went to the forest, and Team A, us, went through like the plains and the ridges and the canyons. Also, there was a third team along for the ride, which was Team C, a set of player characters basically meant to take out Team A, which was us, because we were very strong.
These characters were not played by any players, though. These were DMPCs that Lanky Erik came up with.
Very cool characters, loved them, but they were DMPCs and were handled as a third party, like that mattered just as much as us.
Yeah, which I was totally fine with them existing. I just wish that they didn't take the spotlight away from Team B, which they ultimately did.
Right. So, our session goes fine, but that's not what's important, because what is important is skip. We all make it to the same location, and now we are all set to retrieve an artifact deep within the location we've made it to. So there's basically like a ruin on the inside where we meet up with Antonio Starkovian's ship on one side of the map, while they meet up with one on the other side of the map, and now we're all taken to opposite sides of the same ruin. So we have 2 sessions going on at the same time, basically, and eventually teams A and B cross over at the middle. Great idea.
Oh,
this
yeah,
was
absolutely
amazing. I loved every moment of this because I was looking. It was worked up for us for like probably a month, and then finally it was happening, and I was like, "This is amazing. I'm having so much fun right now."
And the way that this was set up, it wasn't clear from the get-go that we were all going into the same dungeon. Lanky Erik would go and DM a part for them, and then come back over to us and DM a part for us, and it was all like, quiet, don't listen to what's going on. So it was very cool that we meet up in the middle. Along the way, I will say, before we get into the dungeon, Vix does start pulling some problem player things. She had this, or White Glove Erik had this great idea where he would cast darkness, and because shadow sorcerers can see through magical darkness, they'd have advantage on everything and disadvantage on everything else. But
the player they were attacking would have disadvantage on everything. So and at the time, White Glove Erik thought that darkness was the ultimate cheat because of Shadow Sorcerer. Like, this is the ultimate cheat to the game. I can beat any enemy because I just put them in darkness.
Right. So they fought a wyvern and went down almost instantly because they had 14 AC. They really didn't think that part through. They thought, oh, well, everything's got disadvantage, so surely I won't get hit. Didn't even have shield, I don't think. So really no defense against anything, actually.
I'm just imagining you're taking this long time to make this really cool build that can really compete in these challenges, right? And then your build's defeated by an arrow.
Now, we all meet up in the center of this ruin. We're all looking for the same artifact. Only one team wins, which gets us an advantage in the third act of the entire, tournament that's going on here. So our team is very much like, well, we're going to win this, obviously. But we all meet up in the middle. And the idea here is we're all looking for the same thing, but we don't hate each other. There's no real reason for us to attack one another or anything like that. And instantly, Zach's brother Erik looks at my character, and they start arguing with one another, like Sonic the Hedgehog and Shadow the Hedgehog having a boxing match. Because my character, I'm very much trying to, okay, I get, I'm talking some shit, he's talking some shit, and it's kind of all in good fun until he attacks me. And White Glove Erik instantly goes, "Is this what we're doing?" And I was like, well, no, I assume not. And then, so he keeps going for me, and I'm like, no. We don't need to do this. And all the other players at the table are like, whoa, we're not interfering. So he comes at me, and in one swift motion, my character takes down Zach's brother Eric's character. In literally one turn, just bop, all the way to 0 hit points on the ground. Now,
yeah. So again, Zach's brother Erik was a rogue. He wasn't, perfectly optimized in any way. And Seth's character was busted because our DM had an affinity for monks and let us pull a lot of shit.
Oh, yeah. So let me tell you that Schmidt the monk was the best monk of all time because he was a Way of the Long Death monk. Very fun to play. So that meant if I knock a player down, I get temporary hit points for the time being. That was fine. But The other things, one, I was wielding a spider staff, so it did extra poison damage every time I hit. So it was a D8 for the staff, then a D8 poison damage on top of that, and then I also had my unarmed strikes to go into. Now, on top of that, we knew we were going into a dungeon, and what better for a dungeon than a lot of AC? Now, the rules as written in the book, you cannot stack like mage armor on top of another character. If a character, say, for instance, has unarmored defense, which monks do, they would add their dex and wisdom together to give them their AC. So 17 AC is what Schmidt the monk should have had. Now, mage armor grants you a base of 13 AC, and then you add your dex into it. So by all means, my character, if they had mage armor on, would also have 17 AC, because I had 18 dex. But Lanky Erik really liked monks. And in his head, if you're not wearing armor, mage armor should still work as intended, which is to add an extra layer of defense. So my base, he let me have my unarmored defense along with mage armor. So 13 base AC plus my dex plus my wisdom, which added up to 20 AC for Schmidt the monk. Always, basically. It's for one first level spell slot. I get 8 hours of 20 AC instead of 17, which is a massive buff to a monk. On top of the fact that bonus action patient defense was one of my best plays at the time.
Which he also let us do as a reaction. He let you do as a reaction.
Because we, at one point, I think I read it and thinking it was a reaction, me not really knowing as a player very much, and I used patient defense as a reaction instead of a bonus action. So I would do like a flurry of blows and then also have patient defense as a reaction. Busted character. I mean, and it busted only because, one, we didn't know all the rules, so I just assumed things. And then two, Lanky Erik knew, even though he knew a lot of these things, still was like, nah, monk, it should work for a monk. Because he loved monks. Okay, so back to the story. Me and Varkin, the rogue, get into a bit of a tussle, and I knock him out in one turn. At this point, Vix is like, oh, no, you don't mess with us like that. And I was like, wait, he started it. This should, because he attacked first. I didn't attack him. So I defended myself and put him down. And I was like, wait, you saw that. Like, he attacked me, putting, like, hands up. Darkness is cast on me instantly. And I'm just like, okay, I'm going to patient defense as a reaction. So he comes at,
Yes, you are.
So I was like, yeah, I patient defense as a reaction. So now all attacks have disadvantage. No other characters are getting involved. So, darkness is cast on me. It's my turn. I'm waiting to defend myself if someone comes at me. Soul then starts, or not Soul, Vix starts casting spells at me, and I was like, okay, can I really tell where the spells are coming from? I had to make some perception checks. Yes, you can. They're in darkness, though. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to move towards the source of, like, the spells, and I'm going to use a flurry of blows, which was, at the time, 4 straight attacks on this person. And I was like, I'm going to use a flurry of blows.
Who also still didn't have that much health.
Yeah.
Khan was not dumped, but they had like a +1. So
yeah, it was like 18. I think it was like 19 or 20 health. Like,
yeah, still as a sorcerer with a D6, we were level 5 or 6 at this point.
I think we were level 6.
Yeah, we were level 6, but they still didn't have nearly enough health for Schmidt.
So
Was he still rolling for his health?
I think so.
That's insane.
So at this point, I go for a full flurry of blows, and in that turn, I dealt well over 30 hit points. And I believe I hit a couple of the attacks, and all of a sudden, Vix is now on the ground too. Darkness goes down, and I have knocked out 2 of their players without taking a single hit point. Now, at this point, I'm like, hey, I don't want to hurt you guys, and I have like a dart ready to go if someone attacks me. I don't want to hurt you guys. We're here for the same thing as you. We should work together, which was Lanky Erik's intention, was they're going to work together, and someone has to come out on top, which is a great idea. So now, PvP is happening, and that's never fun in D&D, is PvP like this. So Regara, the barbarian, is very much like, I'm getting the vibe here. Obviously, I don't want to hurt you, so I'm not going to attack you. And Penny, the druid, then goes and heals Varkin while he's down. Varkin gets back up, looks me dead in the eye, and goes for me again, to which he misses his attack. It becomes my turn again, and I whack him down back to unconscious.
Yeah, Zach's brother Erik was I don't know what he was on that day.
Yeah, he really wanted to take down Schmidt, and for some reason, after losing to me in one turn and not dealing a single hit point, thought it's a great idea to try that again.
Well, yeah, so I will give some context. In a previous session, he did, as an assassin rogue, get an automatic crit against the glass staff, a powerful mage who literally killed both mine and red-haired Erik's characters. So he felt like he was hot shit because he killed him in one hit. That's all that
But that's
Markin
a surprise
needs.
critical hit attack.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he wouldn't have gotten a critical hit on me. He would have dealt like 2d6, and then I would have knocked him down again.
Oh, for sure.
So we get to that point. It didn't make logical sense. It doesn't need to. I knock him down again, and basically Vix was very upset that they were knocked out in one go. Like, it was very apparent at the table. His mood was ruined. White Glove Erik had a horrible session after that. They couldn't participate in the boss battle we did.
And not to mention, they did break down crying again because they got knocked out.
Right, yeah. They broke down crying because they lost that quickly, and I was like, why? I literally asked them at the table, I was like, why did you attack me? Like, I wasn't attacking you. I held my hand on my darts. Like, this didn't need to happen. If you could read the room well enough and you didn't care so fucking much about your character, you would have been able to tell that we're supposed to work together here.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like there's a series of patterns here happening. It's almost like you could pick up on those.
Right. It's basically like no, that awareness was not there, and I don't blame anybody for not having like great social awareness, but at the same time, when people are blatantly telling you, like, I'm literally looking at him and being like, I don't want to do this with you. Like, if this happens, I am going to knock you down. We will kill you. It's blatant to see. Don't keep going like, no, that won't happen. And then when it happens, don't cry at me. Like, he broke down sobbing, and I couldn't help it. Like, you attacked my character. So, anyways, that happened. It kind of ruined the whole vibe of the session until we got through the boss battle, which was very fun. The boss battle happened, by the way. Team B almost all went down in the fight. We protected them as best we could, and we got rid of the boss. We got out of the dungeon, and we were like, listen, I know you're holding the relic that we need, and if...
because Rhaegar definitely rushed for it, said, fuck you guys, you almost got us all killed, I'm getting out of here. I don't think we even killed it was like a spirit naga or something.
Yeah.
It was way too high level.
We worked
for us.
hard on it, but we didn't actually kill it. We all ran out of the dungeon, and Rhaegar tried to take it, and we all like surrounded her and were like, hey, it's going to be very easy for us to take you down right now. Like, literally no problem. So you can either go through a world of hurt or just hand us that relic right now. And she did as told and was like, you're right, here's the relic. And so we won. We won in that scenario because all the others of them, they made a series of bad decisions. And listen, Erik with a K was so mad because she was like, if only my party wasn't so fucking stupid that they would attack every moment they get the other players. If we had all worked together, they had a very good chance of getting out of there. They had good casters. They had a rogue. They could have very well, like, grab it, cunning action, double dash, get out of there as fast as possible. We're still using the crazy cunning action rules at this point. That very well could have happened, and it could have been a balanced thing, but because they attacked me right at the beginning, it was over. Like, they were all dealing with one hit point pretty much the whole time.
Oh, it's so sad. The other players got robbed of a reward
because they
there.
were. And now Zach's brother Erik wasn't necessarily a problem player the whole time. I think that he was fun to play with on occasion. His attitude wasn't always there. Like, he wasn't always engaged with the game. But like he definitely was no White Glove Erik, who was every single session making decisions like that just ruined the game for everybody at the table because they cared so much about their character.
Yeah, absolutely. So I believe after that, the very next session we played was our last session with White Glove Erik.
Right.
We did.
This was hell day. I remember it clearly, dude.
Well, I'm going to need your help on this one too. But essentially, we finally got to the main event, the moment we've all been waiting for. Now it's no longer PvP. If you're stupid, the goal is the first party to take out the other party is the victor. And we needed to get it was like capture the flag basically, where we have to get a relic from their end of this riverbank, basically, and they have to get our relic. So whoever crosses back with the relic first wins, but obviously combat's going to ensue here. So we spend maybe 2 hours of this session just planning and prepping.
It was like an hour for each party, like in the room with Lanky Erik to decide this is your plan.
Yep. So our plan was our wizard Snagglepuss would create. He'd cast Leomin's tiny hut around our relic. It would be out in the open, but they can't get in Leomin's tiny hut because Snagglepuss sets his ass down inside that tiny hut within 150 feet of the other players. So perfect fireball range. But he's just this little cannon that no one can mess with because nothing goes in that tiny hut.
Yeah.
So that was our plan. It worked fairly well. Lanky Erik did pull a little trick on us with that just to make it interesting at all, but we'll get to that later. The B team hid their relic inside a trapped room where the door would close automatically. I'm
yeah,
not sure how
so
they
if
set
you
that
went
up.
inside the room, the door would close behind you, which was cool. It was useful and did have some comeuppance later on. But I believe, in regards to like staying on topic with the White Glove Erik thing, I believe he was not there for the actual fight.
Was he not?
Because this was at the point where Lanky Erik had a talk with him after the major like sobbing session that he had prior, and basically told him like, I can't really have you playing in the game anymore. And then that's whenever he started texting me, trying to get me to like talk to Lanky Erik and get him to let him back in. And I remember, I'm pretty sure it was Hell Day. It was the day we were going to do all this. He felt excluded because he couldn't play the game, and he knew that we were going to be playing this day. And I and like two other people, I believe, had to like go and sit down with him and just talk it out with him. So we met at McCorkle's, which was our local fast food joint on campus in college. We sat down with, or I sat down. I believe no, it was me, another Erik, and then White Glove Erik, and I just had to listen to his side of the story and explain to him, look, your actions at the table make everyone uncomfortable. You're overreacting every time something happens to your character that happens because of a decision you made, and it's just not fun. So we can't have you there anymore. And I explained it to him. He cried a whole lot. Like, he trusted me a lot because he had played a whole campaign with me at this point already. And like I said, he wasn't really that much of a problem player at my table. He was fine. He made me uncomfortable, and it was awkward and cringy to play with him. But it was still D&D, and it was still fun. Like, it wasn't bad D&D. There were bad moments in D&D. But yes, in this scenario, when we were all playing that together, it was like, hey, letting him know you are the problem player at the table, and we can't have that. And I think it kind of broke him a little bit. But, I mean, those are words that I feel like you need to hear when you're in that situation where I knew very much, I was like, if I was in your shoes right now, I don't know how I would deal with it. But I have to at least let you know up front that this is the case. That way you can handle it in whatever way you need. So I felt like we handled it very well in that situation where he was trying to text me like, hey, what's going on? Are you guys playing today? Like, am I supposed to be there or whatever? And I was like, hey, let's just sit down and talk it out. And I feel like it was handled in a very mature way at the time. But yeah, White Glove Erik did not play D&D with us after that point. And it was all because he, even in moments when we did have conversations with him, this wasn't the only conversation we ever had with him. It wasn't like always, oh my God, I can't believe we had to play with him again today. We did have conversations outside of that, like, hey, the things you're doing, the things you're saying are making us a little bit uncomfortable. Or there were a lot of, especially text messages sent back and forth, like, hey, can you cool it with the flirting today? Like, just, please cool it with that because, at the time, I believe some of our players had like girlfriends and stuff, and they were getting flirted with, and it would be like, hey, can you cool it with that? Like, he's seeing someone, and it just makes him uncomfortable. And those things were said at the table. It was just that, it just felt like it was much easier and worthwhile for us to remove the problem from the table rather than deal with it and deal with it and deal with it for another year, because we had been dealing with it for, I believe, 6 months at that point.
For sure. And we did still see White Glove Erik around, and I don't think hard feelings, for the most part,
It was a little awkward.
Yeah, but we left on mostly good terms. I've had some good conversations with him after the fact.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did wrap up that leg of the adventure. We definitely beat Team B. We beat them bad.
Oh, we beat them really bad, and I think there will be grounds for us to go through the entire Convergent story at some point, because it was very fun. Especially the Team A side of it was extremely enjoyable. So I think we should have a story time in the future where we kind of break down the entirety of that story. But yeah, this is only one small part of it, which was the White Glove Erik experience.
Yep. Any thoughts, Drew?
You know, I've heard this story a number of times now, never through the entirety of it, like in this sort of format, but it gets cooler each time. I get little bits and pieces that I didn't hear, and I can't help but wonder, because I've heard the tale of White Glove Erik. Did White Glove Erik wear a glove in the other campaign as well?
Yes. White Glove Erik was still a caster in my campaign as Ambrose. I believe Ambrose was also a Shadow Sorcerer.
Okay.
That makes sense, yeah.
And that same outstretched hand and like the glance into your eyes as they tried to cast a spell or something was still very apparent. Like the white glove was always there.
Do we think maybe he was onto something with this? Like, did he roll good? Maybe the idea of wearing this glove and having this certain rolling form,
not better than the average
giving
player.
off this
not better than the average player.
Confident energy, perhaps.
You know,
I think they thought they were going to roll great every single time, but a lot of times it ended up being like, you roll, oh, I got a nat 1, and it was like an upsetting moment for him.
Oh, I think it was just too much effort into the roll, maybe.
Yeah, I think he had too high of expectations for every turn.
I will say though, the level of commitment to his character, definitely admirable. For a different table and a different time, a different point in our lives, that's not unwelcome. So there's a table for him somewhere out there,
do
I'm
I
sure.
think that White Glove Erik should never play D&D again? Absolutely not. Were we the group for White Glove Erik? Absolutely not.
No. I'll give some credit here because I feel like we've kind of pooped on him a little bit this episode. I've played with a lot of good players in my day of playing D&D, and a lot of them, even if they are good players, they're good at combat and they can think through situations, sometimes they just don't get that into their character. Sometimes you don't feel the energy and the passion from them. So it's really cool that he was able to channel that through, even if it was a little bit much.
Yeah, like there were upsides, and sometimes there were like good decisions that were made. So, I can say that. But like I said at the top of the episode, would I allow White Glove Erik in my group again? No. And with that, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of Table Talk Friday. If you would like to follow us on social media, you can find us on TikTok and Twitter mainly. I post the episodes or like the titles and stuff and a question on Twitter every single week. And then we got some clips going up on TikTok pretty consistently, usually like 2 or 3 times a week. Other than that, you can find all of our stuff on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts and services and such. I'm sorry, guys. My brain is like shutting off. So with that, I'm just going to go ahead and let the character take us out.
You're going to take me out? But I'm not supposed to die here. No, let me do that again. I'm not supposed to die here. No, wait, one more time. I'm not supposed to die here?
Hi, me again. Thanks for listening to Table Talk Friday, a D&D podcast. I think I said that at the beginning. If you'd like to follow the boys anywhere or send them any inquiries, anything you'd like to say to them, you can do so at tabletalkfriday@gmail.com. Once again, thank you for listening to the show. Come back next Friday. Give us a follow, rate us 5 stars and whatnot. Have a good one. See ya. Bye-bye.